Hello everyone, my name is Edward, and today I present you the 7th episode of the Automotive History series. In this series I'm going to cover the most funny, interesting and juicy stories of automotive history. But without further ado, let's get started. Last week Ford announced that they were working on a brand new type of pickup. These are some of the spy photos, and it has been said that it is going to be based on the Ford Focus platform, meaning that it's going to be smaller than the already compact-sized Ford Ranger pickup. The only thing I could think of is, could this be a reintroduction of the Ford Ranchero? I mean, Ford is already planning to bring back the Ford Bronco somewhere in the early 2020s, so why not a reintroduction of the Ford Ranchero, a coupe utility? And then I hear you think, Edward, what is that coupe utility you speak of? And could you elaborate more on this? Well, luckily I was just planning to make a video about it, so what a coincidence. Today we're talking about the origins of the coupe utility, also known as Ute. The coupe utility, or Ute, is a car-based pickup truck. And no, it does not find its origins over in America. We need to go to 1930s Australia. Because what was Australia up to back then? Australia was trying to fight kangaroos, was trying to survive the insufferable heat, was trying to not get killed by anything that crawls, and were also trying to fight emus, which they terribly failed at. Amidst all of this, they still found time to complain about the Australian automotive market. It has been said that in 1933 that a farmer's wife wrote a letter to Ford of Australia asking, "Can you build me a vehicle that we can use to go to church on Sunday and that my husband can use to take the pigs to the market on Monday?" She asked if Ford could make a vehicle that was utilitarian but also looked presentable on a Sunday when you went to church. I mean, come on, it's church. You need to look dapper. She sent the letter to Ford of Australia and Ford was like, that might not be a bad idea at all. Ford went to work in 1933 by using a regular coupe by incorporating tub bodywork in the back and strengthening the chassis so that it could carry a load. The prototype was approved and the coupe utility went into production in 1934. Generally, it is accepted that this was the very first coupe utility, or by the Australians named Ute. But just as with muscle cars, there are people out there that try to argue that. Before the Australian Ute came out, people already at home were tinkering around with their vehicles, trying to change them to their personal needs. Similar as what furniture makers would do to create the first station wagons. One notable example is that some company over in Sweden, known as Volvo, already created a coupe utility before the Australians did it, based on the Volvo OV4. But only 27 units left the factory, so people kind of argue whether that is a real production car and not some type of prototype. Anyway, Australians instantly fell in love with the car. And to this day there is a very big car community revolving around the Ute. And it took another 20 years or so before the first competitors came with an answer. For the Australian market it was Holden, a GM subsidiary, that came up with their Holden Ute as an answer to the Ford Coupe utility, and based on the Holden 48-215. In the meantime, America wasn't really fond of the Ute at first. Henry Ford himself even called it a kangaroo chaser. But things started to change in 1950s America. In 1957, Ford thought that it might be a good idea to introduce the concept of coupe utility also to the American automotive market. And then I hear you think that, well, America already had pickups back in the day, right? Yeah, but there is some distinction between a coupe utility and a regular pickup. Allow me to explain. So, a coupe utility is a marriage made in heaven. It brings you the best of both worlds. The practicality and ruggedness of a pickup truck, along with the comfort, style and performance of a regular sedan. Mind you, actual pickup trucks back in the day were work trucks. They were designed to just do the job and are not as luxurious as the Ford F350 Super Duty XL King Ranch Dressing Harley Davidson Bukkake Edition that you can buy today. But now people had the chance to buy a pickup truck that did come with a radio and did have some decent performance and wasn't slow. But what a coupe utility really is just a two-door station wagon with the roof cut off. I'm once again flexing my Photoshop skills. Here is a regular 1957 Ford two-door station wagon. Now watch this. Boom. And as you can see, this picture doesn't really look all that different than its real-life counterpart photo. This is essentially what Ford did in 1957 with the introduction of the Ford Ranchero. They just took a two-door station wagon without a roof. And it worked! The Ford Ranchero proved to be quite successful. Even so successful that competitors came up with an answer. Because as soon as Ford has something, Chevrolet needs to have it as well. And 2 years later, Chevrolet came up with the El Camino. Now, usually I don't pick sides. I try to stay as independent as possible, but here, this is just trying to copycat at its finest. I mean, Ford has Ranchero, which is Spanish for farmer, and now Chevrolet comes with El Camino, which is Spanish for the road. I mean, they could, from all the names they could choose. But, well, you know what? Whatever, screw it. The American Coupe utility didn't last as long as the Australian Coupe utility. Giggity. No, utility, not giggity. In the late 70s, the Ford Ranchero looked something like this. And I'm not surprised you could get this with a vinyl top. I mean, it just screams Malaise and Brougham era to me. What is this? The front end looks just like a Lincoln. The Ranchero line was discontinued in 1979 to never be seen or heard of again. But to let the customers not completely dissatisfied, people could opt for a Ford Courier, which was a rebadged Mazda B series until the compact pickup Ford Ranger arrived as the official replacement of the Ford Ranchero. Chevrolet, however, well, that lasted slightly longer than Ford, all the way until 1987-1988. The reason why the Coupe utility started to fade away in the United States was simply because pickup trucks by then started to get also more luxurious. So what do you choose? A car-based pickup or just a full-size pickup with the same amenities, but a lot more cargo space and practicality? Yeah, exactly. So the Coupe utility lost ground over in America, but was still very popular in Australia, and also the Asians suddenly started to turn up with Coupe utilities. One notable example is the Nissan B140, in South Africa very popular and known by nicknames such as Bakkie and Kan nie dood, which means it cannot die, meaning that the car will last forever. Well, what also lasted forever was its years of production. It was for 37 years straight in production. The car came from 1971 and 2008 was the last year of production for this car. Amazing. Africa and South America both seem to be continents where the Coupe utility is proven to be quite popular. More recent models are the Fiat Strada, the Ford Courier, the Peugeot Hogger, Ogyar, and the, I love this one, the Suzuki Mighty Boy.
Here come that boy, that mighty boy.
But let's return to the homeland and more recent times. Like I mentioned multiple times before in this video, the Ute is still extremely popular over in Australia until this very day. One particular aspect of this love for the Ute are the so-called Ute Musters. And I'll apologize in advance, this is such an Australian thing, I've never heard of it and I'm quite surprised. He who thinks that a Ute Muster is just a bunch of drunk guys trying to show off their Utes while playing loud music and heavy drinking is wrong. The Ute Musters are gatherings of people that own Utes but are usually held just to do some fundraising for charity and are also part of bigger festivals and agricultural fairs. Nice. But the question is how long this car culture is going to last, as the Coupe utility is a dying breed. Ford already ordered to stop the production of the Ford Falcon Ute in July 2016, and Holden followed quickly by discontinuing the Holden Commodore Ute in 2017. The reason why the Ute is getting scrapped seems almost paradoxical. The oh-so by Australians beloved Ute is a slow seller, and people choose for the more conventional pickup truck over Ute. And it's a shame, because with the discontinuation of the Ute, also the classic Australian automotive market is going down under. Sorry, I should not make that joke. And with that, I want to end the episode. Thank you for listening, and remember to like and subscribe to my channel if you want more of this. And make sure that you follow me on Instagram. It's where I post cars that I found in the wild on the street, along with some interesting facts or a story, something like that. None of that promotional or irrelevant bullshit. So once again, thank you, and see you in the next video.